The deception. The human exploration vessel Audacity drifted through the darkness at the edge of charted space, its hull bearing the scars of countless micrometeorite impacts. To any observer, it resembled an aging, outdated ship, the kind sent on missions deemed too risky or unimportant for more valuable vessels. Captain Maya Riley stood on the bridge, her posture relaxed yet alert, as she studied the tactical display before her. "Captain, we've detected multiple vessels approaching from Sector 7, announced Lieutenant Carlos Vega, the ship's sensors officer. His voice remained steady, but the tension in his shoulders betrayed his concern. "Configuration?" Riley asked, taking a sip from her coffee mug. She kept her demeanor casual, though her mind was already calculating scenarios. "Unknown, ma'am. 5 ships, each approximately 3 times our size. Power signatures unlike anything in our database." Riley nodded. "Interesting. Maintain course and speed. Open standard greeting channels." The bridge crew exchanged glances. The Audacity was at the farthest reach of human space, operating under the guise of a simple exploration vessel. In reality, it was part of Earth's strategic deception fleet, ships designed to look weak and outdated while housing technology decades beyond what humanity publicly acknowledged. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike any they had encountered before. Its body appeared to be composed of crystalline structures over a metallic endoskeleton. 4 glowing orbs served as eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern across its face. When it spoke, the words came through the translator with a harmonic resonance. "I am Supreme Commander Xerx of the Voider Collective. Your vessel has entered our sovereign territory." Captain Riley straightened slightly. "Commander Xerx, I'm Captain Maya Riley of the Earth Alliance vessel Audacity. We're on a peaceful exploration mission, and we're unaware this region was claimed by any species." The alien made a sound that the translator interpreted as laughter. "Earth Alliance? We've monitored your transmissions. Your species has barely mastered rudimentary faster-than-light travel." The camera panned back, revealing more of the bridge of the alien vessel, a vast command center with dozens of different species working at various stations. None looked particularly happy. "Your ship," Xerx continued, "is pathetically constructed. Our scans show outdated propulsion systems, minimal defensive capabilities, and weapons that would struggle to damage our smallest support craft." The commander's voice carried unmistakable disdain. "How your kind has survived long enough to reach the stars is puzzling." Riley maintained a neutral expression. "We come in peace, Commander. We're simply explorers. Peace is a luxury afforded to equals, Captain. Your ship will be escorted to our command vessel for inspection. Your technology, primitive as it may be, will be evaluated, and your crew interviewed. This will help us determine how best to integrate your species into the collective." The screen went dark before Riley could respond. "They've locked targeting systems on us, Captain," reported Commander Diana Chen, the tactical officer. Her hands hovered over the weapons console, which showed only basic defensive options to any observer. The real controls remained hidden. "Status of our mask?" Riley asked quietly. Chief Engineer Marcus Okoro's voice came through the comm. "Holding perfectly, Captain. They're seeing exactly what we want them to see. A rust bucket with barely functioning systems." Riley nodded thoughtfully. "Good. Let's keep it that way." The Audacity found itself surrounded by the massive Voidar ships, each one gleaming with a polished exterior that seemed to absorb and redirect light. Their designs were elegant and clearly advanced, with no visible weapon systems despite the energy readings suggesting formidable firepower. As they approached the Voidar command vessel, a behemoth that could easily house hundreds of ships the Audacity's size, Riley gathered her senior staff in the secure conference room. Unlike the rest of the ship, which maintained the appearance of outdated technology, this room contained their true capabilities. "What we've learned so far?" Riley asked, looking around the table. Intelligence Officer Nadia Patel brought up a holographic display. The Voidar appear to be a collective of species, but not an equal one. Based on our observations and the limited data we've gathered, one dominant species, the crystalline beings, have subjugated at least 7 other species that we've identified so far. A conquest-driven empire, noted Commander Chen. Precisely, Petal continued. And their interest in us seems to follow their standard pattern. They identify new species, assess their technological level, and then determine whether to conquer them outright or manipulate them into joining their collective. Riley studied the images of the various alien species working on the Voidar ships, and those who join become servant classes, essentially. We've observed distinct hierarchies among the non-Voidar species. They're not slaves per se, but definitely not equals. Chief Engineer Okoro cleared his throat. Captain, they're going to want to board us, inspect our systems. How far do we let this go? Riley's expression hardened. As far as necessary to gather intelligence. Remember, the Audacity isn't just on an exploration mission. We're here to assess potential threats to Earth and human colonies. If the Voidar represent such a threat, we need to know everything we can about them. And if they decide humans would make good servants? Asked Lieutenant Vega. Riley's lips curved into a slight smile. Then they'll learn what happens when you underestimate humanity. The Audacity was guided into a massive docking bay within the Voidar command ship. The bay itself could have accommodated dozens of vessels their size, and numerous smaller craft moved about in carefully coordinated patterns. Magnetic clamps engaging, reported Lieutenant Vega as the ship settled into position. They're establishing a hard seal on our primary airlock. Captain Riley addressed the ship-wide comm. All crew, this is the captain. We are about to have visitors. Remember your training and the mission parameters. Say little, observe much. Any crew member question should appear somewhat intimidated and technically unsophisticated. Let's show our guests exactly what they expect to see. As she finished, the airlock indicators changed to show external override. The Voidar weren't waiting for permission to come aboard. Riley nodded to Commander Chen and Lieutenant Vega. You're with me. Let's welcome our hosts. The airlock cycled and opened to reveal 6 Voidar soldiers, their crystalline bodies glinting under the lights. Behind them stood a taller figure with more elaborate crystalline formations, clearly an officer of some rank. I am Sub-Commander Xerx, the officer announced. You will submit to inspection and questioning. Your cooperation will determine your species' status within the collective. Riley stepped forward with a carefully calculated mix of caution and forced diplomacy. We're happy to cooperate, Sub-Commander. The Audacity is an open book. Xerx made that same sound. The translator hesitated to call it laughter. All books are eventually read, Captain. Some are worth keeping. Others, the sub-commander left the implication hanging as he gestured for his soldiers to begin their inspection. As the Voidar spread throughout the ship, Riley caught Commander Chen's eye and gave an almost imperceptible nod. Chen touched a hidden control on her wrist communicator, activating the ship's true systems in silent mode. Deep within the Audacity's core, an advanced AI designated HENA came fully online, beginning passive data collection on everything the Voidar did and said. The true battle had not yet begun, but the first moves were being made. The Voidar saw a weak, primitive human vessel. Soon, they would discover just how wrong their assessment had been. The revelation. Sub-Commander Xerx moved through the Audacity with obvious contempt, trailing his fingers along surfaces and making disparaging comments about human engineering. Behind him, his technicians scanned every system, taking readings and occasionally extracting small components for closer examination. Your propulsion system is particularly amusing, Xerx remarked as they entered engineering. Simple fusion drives. We abandoned such crude technology 5 centuries ago. Chief Engineer Okoro managed to look both offended and intimidated. A perfect performance. It gets us where we need to go, he mumbled. Barely, I imagine, Xerx replied dismissively. And these control systems, He gestured to the deliberately archaic-looking console. Physical interfaces. How quaint. Captain Riley watched the inspection with calculated patience. Every moment the Voidar spent aboard the Audacity was another moment ATCENA gathered valuable intelligence. Through hidden sensors, the AI was mapping the Voidar's technology, analyzing their language patterns, and even studying their physiological responses. After 2 hours of thorough inspection, Xerx summoned Riley to her own conference room, now commandeered as his temporary headquarters. Displayed on the table were components taken from various systems around the ship, all part of the elaborate deception. "Your vessel is even more primitive than our initial scan suggested," Xerx announced. "I've communicated my findings to Supreme Commander Xerx. He has determined that humans possess insufficient technology to be worthy of full integration." "Meaning?" Riley asked, careful to keep her tone neutral. "Your species will be classified as a Level 3 civilization, useful for labor and resource extraction, but not advanced enough for meaningful contribution to the collective's knowledge base." Xerx's crystalline features shifted into what might have been a smile. "Consider it an honor. Level 4 civilizations are typically deemed too primitive to preserve their cultural identity at all." Riley allowed a flash of controlled indignation to cross her face. "We're an independent species. We haven't agreed to any classification or integration." Xerx made that now familiar sound that passed for laughter. "Agreement is not a prerequisite for reality, Captain. The Voidar Collective has encountered hundreds of species across this sector of the galaxy. Some fought. Some surrendered. All eventually found their place in our hierarchy." He activated a holographic display showing dozens of worlds. "These are all Level 3 civilizations that once believed as you do. That independence was their right. They now provide valuable resources and labor to more advanced species who can better utilize them." Riley studied the display carefully, noting the locations. Athene would be recording everything. "And if we refuse this generous offer?" Refusal indicates a lack of rational thought, a characteristic of even lower-level civilizations. Xerx's voice hardened. "Those require more direct management approaches." Before Riley could respond, an alarm sounded from one of the Voidar technicians' devices. The technician spoke rapidly in their native language, too quick for the translator to catch. Xerx's demeanor changed instantly. "What is this?" he demanded, turning to Riley. "Our deep scans have detected energy signatures inconsistent with your visible technology." Riley maintained her composure. "Our systems are exactly as you've seen them, Sub-Commander." The technician continued to report, becoming increasingly agitated. Xerx's crystalline features rearranged themselves into what was clearly an expression of suspicion. "Secure the human captain and her officers," he ordered his guards. "Resume scans with maximum penetration." As 2 guards moved toward Riley, she touched a small device on her wrist, a simple gesture that appeared to be nothing more than nervous fidgeting. In reality, it was the signal ATCENA had been waiting for. Throughout the ship, hidden systems activated. Panels that had appeared to be simple metal revealed themselves as advanced composite materials. Controls that had seemed archaic reconfigured into holographic interfaces. The lights dimmed momentarily, then returned brighter than before. "What is happening?" Xerx demanded as his devices began to malfunction. "You made a fundamental error, Sub-Commander," Riley said, her posture straightening, all pretense of submission gone. "You judged us by what you could see, not by what might be hidden." Athena's voice echoed through the ship, calm and measured. "All systems online. Countermeasures active. Voidar scanning capabilities neutralized." The guards attempting to reach Riley found themselves unable to move, held in place by a localized gravity field. Xerx himself stepped back, his crystalline structure vibrating with what might have been fear. "The Audacity is not what it appears to be," Riley explained. "It's a strategic deception vessel, specifically designed to look weak and primitive while housing technology far beyond what we publicly acknowledge." Throughout the ship, similar scenes played out as Voidar inspection teams found themselves contained by force fields or non-lethal paralysis fields. None were harmed, but all were rendered incapable of taking hostile action. On the bridge, Lieutenant Vega and Commander Chen had retaken control, activating the ship's true capabilities. The main view screen showed the surrounding Voidar vessels, still unaware of what was transpiring inside their docking bay. "We have a saying on Earth," Riley told Xerx as she moved to a newly revealed console. "Never judge a book by its cover." With a simple gesture, she activated the Audacity's primary systems. The ship hummed with power as its true nature was revealed, not a worn-out explorer, but one of Earth's most advanced warships. "Transmitting to all Voidar vessels," announced Lieutenant Vega. "They're responding with threats, Captain." "Open a channel to Supreme Commander Xerx," Riley ordered. The commander's face appeared on screen, his crystalline features arranged in what appeared to be shock. "What is the meaning of this deception?" he demanded. "It's quite simple, Commander," Riley replied. "Humanity has learned through painful experience not to reveal our true capabilities to unknown species. The vessel you've been mocking is actually an advanced scout ship with defensive and offensive capabilities that I suspect exceed your own." As if to emphasize her point, the Audacity began to move, breaking free of the magnetic clamps with ease. The ship's exterior shimmered as the deceptive outer layer reconfigured, revealing a sleek, advanced hull beneath. "Impossible," Xerx stammered. "Our scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show," Riley interrupted. "A technique we perfected after encountering other species who, like you, judged strength solely by appearances." Outside the command ship, the other Voidar vessels began to maneuver into attack positions. "A futile gesture, Captain," Xerx said, regaining his composure. "You are one ship against our fleet." Riley smiled. "Am I?" "Athene, disable their weapon systems." "Executing," the AI responded. Beams of concentrated energy burst from previously hidden ports on the Audacity's hull, striking each Voidar vessel with surgical precision. The beams weren't designed to destroy, merely to disable, and they did their job perfectly. One by one, the Voidar ship's weapon systems went offline. "What have you done?" Xerx demanded. "Demonstrated a fraction of our capabilities," Riley answered. "Your ships remain intact, your crews unharmed." "This was not an attack, Commander, merely a demonstration." The Audacity continued to rise through the docking bay, its systems effortlessly counteracting the Voidar attempts to trap it. As it cleared the massive doors, it took position facing the Voidar fleet, a single small vessel confronting ships many times its size, yet somehow appearing the more dangerous of the two. "Now," Riley said, "let's discuss your classification system again. Where exactly would you place a civilization that just neutralized your fleet's offensive capabilities without firing a single destructive shot?" Xerx was silent, his crystalline features rigid with what might have been shock or fear. "I'll make this simple," Riley continued. "The Audacity will be departing your territory with all the data we've collected on the Voidar Collective. Earth will determine whether you represent a threat that needs to be addressed. If you attempt to follow us or take hostile action against any human vessel in the future, you will discover that this ship is not unique in our fleet." Sub-Commander Xerx, still contained by the force field in the conference room, spoke up. "You deceived us." "We protected ourselves," Riley corrected. "And in doing so, we learned something valuable about the Voidar. You judge others quickly, underestimate those who appear weaker, and seek to dominate rather than cooperate." She turned back to the screen. "Not the traits of a truly advanced civilization, Commander." The Audacity's engines flared to life, not the simple fusion drives the Voidar had scanned, but something far more sophisticated that left no energy trail to track. "One final thing," Riley added. "The other species in your collective, those you've classified and subjugated, will receive the data we've collected as well. They may be interested to learn that there are alternatives to Voidar dominance." Before Xerx could respond, the transmission ended. The Audacity accelerated away from the Voidar fleet, its true capabilities now evident as it outpaced the pursuing vessels with ease. On the bridge, the crew worked with practiced efficiency, all pretense of technological inferiority abandoned. "Tracking shows no effective pursuit," Captain, reported Lieutenant Vega. "We've lost them." Riley nodded, satisfaction evident in her expression. "Set course for Earth. Athena, compile all data on the Voidar and their subject species. I want a complete report by the time we reach the Sol system." "Already in progress, Captain," the AI responded. Commander Chen approached Riley's chair. "Do you think they'll heed our warning?" Riley considered the question. The Voidar built their power on the assumption that they were technologically superior to everyone they encountered. Today that assumption was shattered. "I suspect it will take them some time to reconsider their place in the galaxy." As the Audacity slipped into FTL, leaving the Voidar far behind, Riley allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had faced extinction more than once in its troubled history, surviving through adaptation, innovation, and occasionally, deception. The Voidar had made a critical error, one common to bullies throughout the universe. They had mistaken appearance for reality and restraint for weakness. It was a lesson the Voidar would not soon forget, and one that would ripple through their collective as the subjugated species learned that their overlords were not as invincible as they had believed. The balance of power had shifted, all because of one seemingly insignificant human vessel that refused to be underestimated. The stars streaked past as the Audacity continued its journey home, carrying with it the seeds of change for an entire sector of the galaxy.